Hello everyone and welcome to our next video tutorial. This one is in our series about domain and email management, and today we're going to be specifically talking about DNS management, or managing your DNS. Now before we get into this one, I want to let you know that managing your DNS is really something that's an advanced setting or an advanced feature, and really depending on how you've registered your domain name or set up your email accounts or things like that, usually you won't have to manage or modify your DNS settings any more than I guess we've covered in our previous video tutorials under this domain and email management section. Okay, but right now we're talking about, again, managing the DNS records, and this is the video you should have clicked on to watch what you're watching now. So with that said, again, this is a more advanced sorry, I lost my microphone there. This is a more advanced feature, and really isn't something that you should just go doing unless you've got a specific reason for it. Okay, so with that said, let's move into how to do that. So you log into your system, of course, and you'll click on the Edit Domain button. Okay, now we've covered this section here about your using a different or a custom domain name. We've covered email setup, and again, there's these some redundant links to watch those tutorials. And if you haven't watched them yet, I'd encourage you to do so before doing anything with your DNS. Okay. But if you're at a place where you need to add a DNS record or manage your DNS, you can do that right here. Now, one thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to check to see if this little message here in parentheses says whether or not your DNS is currently hosted here. If it says not currently hosted here, then you can add DNS records all day long and it won't matter, because we are not managing your DNS. We're not hosting it. And until you have it hosted with us, then it doesn't matter what you do here. So I'm going to change this to a domain name that I believe is hosted here, and see if that does anything. Let's see, I can't do that domain. Let's try a different one. Okay, so that's available. That domain's available. So I'm going to click. Well, I don't have to. It already saved it for me. And now it's telling me, hey, your DNS is pointed to our servers correctly. So that's a good thing. So what we want to do is then you want to click Add Record. Okay. Now, if you do that, it's going to give you a line down here, okay? And you're going to be able to enter in a host name and then choose a record type and put in a value. So I'm going to do one of these with you, or a couple of these with you. Let's say you have your DNS hosted with us and you've decided to use a third-party company right here for your email provider. Well, then what you would do is you would type in their MX record, and they're going to tell you what that is. Usually it's going to be mail.something.com. Okay, but they're going to provide that host name for you, and you're going to select MX or mail exchanger, and then you're going to put in a value, and this value usually is going to be some kind of an IP address. And who knows what it is? It varies with every company. Okay, and then you just click Save. Okay, and it'll save it for you. Now, other reasons you'd use a DNS or add a DNS record, in addition to an MX record, is maybe you have an A record, okay, that you want to create. Now, we talked about up here pointing your domain name to us for using an A record, okay? And if you're doing that, then that means that you're hosting your DNS somewhere else, because you've created an A record that just points a particular part of your domain name to us. If you've pointed your entire DNS to us, then we give you the ability to create A records to point them to point other parts of your domain name elsewhere. For example, let's say your domain name is something.com like this, and you want to create what's called a subdomain, and you want it to be marketing microsoft.something.com. Well, that's a subdomain of your main domain called something.com. And this marketing piece, you may want to have some marketing page or some other website out there hosted elsewhere that comes up when people type in marketing.something.com. Well, if that's the case, then you would type that host name in there, select a record, and then put in the IP address for whatever that host is. And I mean, I'm just putting in numbers here. These aren't what you would use, but to give you an idea, okay? And the final way you would use this is to use a CNAME. And again, these are all things that some other company should have requested you do, and you'll know, or they'll tell you what should go in the host name file, what type of record you should create, and what value you should put in here for either the IP address or something other than an IP address, but almost always it's an IP address, okay? And they'll give you that information. But by and large, this video is just to let you know that you can manage your DNS inside of your account here. And if you have pointed your DNS to our servers, like this message says, then these settings will take effect and they will apply and they will matter. If you have got some domain name up here that that isn't pointed to us, like Microsoft.com, for example, it's going to say it's available. No one else in our system is using it, but it's going to tell you as soon as it updates here. If we click Save, when this page refreshes, it's going to tell you that, guess what? Your domain name, this domain name is not pointed to our servers. And in that case, none of these settings would apply. Okay? So again, if you're using a third-party email service provider, or you're using, want to use a subdomain or some kind of a CNAME, then this is when and why you would use this DNS management area. Otherwise, there's really no use for it, and it's best just to leave it alone because it, serves no purpose for you. So. Hopefully that gives you a real brief overview of what you can use this for and why you'd use it. Again, if you're not sure whether you should use it or not, just don't touch it. If you're using some other service and they've asked you to create DNS records and your DNS is pointed to us, then this is where you would do that. And as always, if you have questions, check our support tab for additional videos or ask us a question, and we can always help you from there. So hopefully that covers our bases here and completes our domain and email management section. Hope you've enjoyed this, you've learned something, and that you're kind of now an expert on managing your domain and email. And we'll hopefully see you in the next video, whatever that may be. There's quite a few to go through here, and so look forward to having you join us again. Thanks.